that's an institution of systemic importance. That's not in any way argued by anyone. Sorry. The Anglo-Irish Bank is a bank of systemic importance. It's been so defined by the European Commission, accepted by the European Commission, and we need to protect jobs in this economy. This economy could not withstand the failure of the bank, that and the consequent impact it would have on other banks and other parts of the financial system. It's just not, we couldn't even contemplate it. So we have to make sure that we provide the insurance to be protected, exposure, and transparent going forward. Thank you very much. Thank you.
More centralised than it has been in the past, and they need to actually do what the people want them to do, as they come around and door to door. They've got to make promises and things like that, but it's very difficult if you're relying on central government for all the funding.
Yeah, I understand that, but
in the past,
one of the great problems though is everyone wants the good news and no one wants to raise the bad news. And one of the issues that councils do have the power to do is raise levies, as you know. Raise levies for specific developments. Yeah, but I think it's a good indication, I think, of what can be done where you get community support for a particular project and people see that there's a small contribution made by the community. It can help realise that project coming into being. I think that's a far better approach than the idea that we're waiting from somewhere else for something to happen. Because as you say, empowering local communities is important. And you've seen about €25 million spent in Youghal in the last 5 years. And that's as it should be. I mean, we've been able to see a lot of developments in towns, everyone around Cork, both East and West Cork, in the last 24 hours. And certainly it's a beautiful part of the country when the sun is shining on it. There's no doubt it's a beautiful place here. But I've seen in every town that I've gone to, local communities, local representatives working with community groups, establishing improved health facilities, improved education. You've seen the community school here in Youghal as well. Big commitment there. So, I think people are seeing that over time, certainly from the time I started in politics 25 years ago, there's been far greater delivery, quite obviously because there are far more resources available. But on the question you raise about more local autonomy and local financing powers for councils, I think, obviously the Commission on Taxation is going to be reporting this year. And one of the issues it has to address is the whole question of local government finance.
Right.
And there are some difficult issues there. I mean, it's not a totally easy agenda for people to adopt. But I do think we should try and see in what way, I agree, local government can raise more funds so there's more discretionary funds available to councils. I'd like to see local communities being more empowered to make some decisions. But obviously you have to have the responsibility of raising funds as well as being prepared to spend it. Everyone wants to spend the funds and no one wants to raise them.
So you're basically saying that you're in favour of devolution of power from central government?
Yeah, I think that's on the agenda. I think that the Commission on Taxation will be making some recommendations. To what extent they can be taken up politically will be a matter for political discussion at the cabinet level and within government. But I do think that where people see a local charge or a local taxation system being able to identify improved local amenities as a result, that creates that connection for people that the council is in fact working on their behalf, and that there's a sort of a quid pro quo, more facilities, more improvements require more access to funding. Most of that will remain centrally funded, but some obviously needs to be raised locally as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary when people are being canvassed on the doorstep that they know that when they're casting the vote for a local candidate, that a candidate has some power and will be able to achieve something and get something. As I stand in the moment, I'm of the belief that it's a kind of waste of time, really. County councils and town councils are a kind of waste of time that the whole thing is centralised, so they have no power.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think that's a very poor view for people to express. For this reason, I mean, there are 250 areas throughout the country at the moment where there are many candidates of all parties and none who are going around to the people asking for support. People are engaged, people know who these people are, they know the candidates, and it's an exercise in democracy, and we shouldn't take that for granted. It's part of the democratic life of the country, and there's a lot of activity, a lot of people volunteering to come out and help candidates, friends or family or supporters. Again, that's part of the democratic life of the country. No, what I'm saying is, that's not something to be just cast aside as well. Sure, it doesn't matter. It does matter. It matters who sits around this table as far as the town of Youghal is concerned. It's important that people are representative of the full community and that they take into account what the business needs of the area, what are the social needs of the area, in what way can they advocate at county council level or at department level for more funds. And you need good advocates, and you need a positive agenda. If people come in with a negative point of view before you start, it's very likely to achieve anything in life. And I think, regardless of who, it's up to the people to decide who are elected. But once elected, then the contest is over. Everyone has to sit down here and work for the interests of the full community, and that's what happens. And I think that that is. Whilst of course we should advocate more reforms and people want more powers, as I say, with more powers come more responsibilities. And too often I have found, if you look at the, for example, on the whole waste management issue, we were talking about let's get that down to the local area, let's have regional waste management plans. And of course everyone said, yeah, we need a waste management facility, but not here, and not here, and not there. And you look at the 3 counties there, or the 1 county, you know where to put it at all.
Anyway,
we have one.
But then it went back up to the department to decide. But I mean, one of the things I would say is that this whole environmental services area is an area for job creation in the future too. I mean, I think people are being far more aware of the good waste management facilities we now have. I mean, we used to go off, as we know, and just throw it into a dump somewhere, and we thought we were doing no harm to anyone. Everything and anything was going into it. And now we're recycling and we're reusing and we're dividing out stuff. And we're getting more sensitive and more sophisticated about these things, and quite rightly so, because we have to look after health needs, etc. So I think we've come a long way from the idea of everyone burning the bin in the back of the garden. And now we have various collection systems in place. So I think we're getting there in many ways, and local authorities and local councillors have played a role in being part of that educative process for the community.
So under your leadership, you see, absolutely, yeah. Under your leadership, you see more of the ball back to local council.
Yeah, I think that's an agenda item that has to be addressed by us all. As I say, it will involve tough decisions at local level as well in terms of how they want to raise revenue. But certainly we need to avoid this idea of dependency. We need to establish more autonomy, but people need to work within broad policy guidelines so we don't have a giant councils going in a totally opposite direction regarding various policy issues that need to be synchronised and long enough. Now, let's stop tour without a whistle. Okay. Nice to meet you.
One more that again.
No,
Sure. Yeah, under pressure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank everything.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Keep it going.
Thank you.
Back to work.
All right.
Yeah.
Stop the lights. You must get to meet her. She'll give you the whole.
Go to the web. Tommy, trying to open the door, the man is.